I think you raised a very critical question, my brother Simba, on what has to happen moving forward as a people, understanding the implications that comes with amendment of this bill, understanding the challenges that comes with the extension of the term of the president. In my own view, I think as a point of entry, I would like to say that we have been provided with an opportunity as a people to fight. It must be recorded in our minds that the system that we are dealing with, it doesn't respect the constitution. It's not only the extension of the term of the president or the amendment bill number 3, but they've shown historically that these are the people. It's a system that doesn't observe the rule of law, that doesn't even care that there's a constitution in this country. We've seen in several occasions, several historical events that took place, even when they arrested Job Scala for 1 year without any crime, when they arrested people like Makumborero, Aruzvishi for speaking truth to power, when they stole elections, and when they even introduced the PVO bill. This is a system that has shown its colors that it doesn't observe even the will of the people. It doesn't even indicate any significance towards the availability and the importance of the social contract. So this is the basis of our case where we need to start interrogating as young people to say that the system that we are even dealing with beyond 2030, beyond amendment bill number 3 and other bills that have been also proposed, it's a system that is after retention of power, after accumulation of wealth, after ensuring that this country has an economy that benefits only the elite few. This is the position that we are coming in as young people, and it must be understood at that level that the crisis that is confronting and the deepening crisis in Zimbabwe, it's a system which is come openly to say that we don't observe the existence of Emmanuel Stima in Mavugu, the existence of Libert Hamaus with Harare Poly, the existence of Anna Sand in Epworth, the existence of Namatai in Harare, the existence of Bruce Mo in Bulawayo. They don't observe our existence as young people, and therefore what they are worried about and what they care is the life of their girlfriends and their kids, which is what they've deduced Zimbabwe as a country too, and the economy that they've introduced through, of course, the finance minister, Mr. Mtuli Ncube. So we ought to understand as young people that the crisis that we are facing is beyond what we see and what we talk about today, but it's about the system. We ought to learn from history because history to us is extractive. History to us, it indicates where the future is going. We learned from 2017 where everyone took it to the street and celebrated, the ouster of the former president, the late Robert Gabriel Mugabe, with a dream and a view that we are ushering the new dispensation under the leadership of Emerson Damuzo Mnangagwa, who is the current illegitimate president of this country now. But we have also learned that we changed the face, but we didn't change the system. The Mugabe system is still there, the oppressive system, where when you speak truth to power, you're arrested, is still here. The oppressive system, which doesn't even value the existence of vendors who are trying to look for a living in the streets of Makokov and Mbari, trying to raise fees so that they pay for their kids, is still there. No, that system which is oppressive enough to also not value even the existence of young people who are trying to make a living through mshikashika and public transport sector, introducing bills that are suppressive in nature, where by Macombis and mshikashika are supposed to pay an exorbitant license fee before they renew their insurance. This is the government that we're facing, which doesn't respect the voice of young people, the students of the MSU when they're speaking truth to power and they are suspended from school, denied their right to access education as their constitutional living right. This is the system that is confronting us. And us as young people, we ought to understand that the challenge that we ought to give to this regime is the existential factor and things that they've demonstrated in us. And when we are challenging them, we ought to understand that we are not challenging them as a matter of responding to symptoms, but as a matter to clearly address the fundamental deepening crisis, which is that governance crisis led by the faction within ZANU PF, which believes in the politics of patronage. I was pained today when I saw young people dining in rains from all the way from Leopold, the bus from Leopold and Nast, being rewarded with the rotten chicken inns by attending that bogus youth, uh, whatever that they call it, youth day. It was so embarrassing to see future engineers of our countries and future economics of our countries being humiliated at that extent. And it is shown through the mandate and even the census that we have from the Ministry of Youth, Tino Machakaire, who announces that degrees don't matter, education don't matter, UZ don't matter, MSU don't matter, Harare Poll doesn't matter, NAS doesn't matter. What matters is the Zimbabwe Youth Service, the border case, where young people are just taught to not be able to bath. They are just taught to be bootlickers of mbingas. They are just taught to be the masqueraders of violence. They are just taught to live a life which is worse than the dogs of the rich. That is nonsense, and this is what is demonstrated by this system. So I'm trying to bring a conscious mind to all young people who are listening to us in this space to understand the rotten and the deepening crisis which is confronting us. And I'm glad that Comrade Steamer highlighted that this crisis is better attacking not only the future but the current state of young people who are in the ghetto and Mbare, who don't understand what is being said by constitutional amendment, but who understand better that they cannot be employed unless if they go through a Zimbabwe Youth Service Program, who are not aware that for you to access education, you must be son of a member of parliament or son of a minister, because those are the only people that can afford education. So this is the crisis that is facing us as young people, and we ought to deduce it to a language that is understood by the young people in the ghetto and ECAS, to understand that the amendment of this constitution, it doesn't speak only to an individual. I was seeing my comrades focusing on Emerson Mnangagwa as an individual who is to yet to benefit from this amendment bill. But it's beyond that. It's a systematic challenge that we ought to challenge it at a systematic level. It's beyond Mnangagwa, but it's about something that is enlarging, something that is expatiating and promoting the neoliberal kind of politics of patronage that we have been witnessing.
Welcome to ZimOne, a platform where every voice matters and every idea counts. This is a space dedicated to nation building, shaped by the thoughts, hopes, and lived experiences of the people of Zimbabwe. From the streets to the classrooms, from farms to factories, from elders to the youth, we bring together brilliant points from different gatherings of citizens across our nation. These are conversations rooted in reality, driven by patriotism, and guided by the belief that Zimbabwe's future is built by its people. Here, we listen, we reflect, and we share ideas that inspire unity, progress, and sustainable development. This channel is not about politics alone. It is about solutions. Not about division, but about collective responsibility. Join us as Zimbabweans from all walks of life contribute insights that strengthen our communities, uplift our nation, and shape the Zimbabwe we all want to see. This is our voice. This is our vision. This is nation building together.